London in 1888 was a city of contrasts. In the West End, wealth and grandeur were on display. Gas lamps flickered over cobblestone streets where carriages clattered past elegant townhouses. But in the East End, especially in Whitechapel, the picture was far darker. Narrow alleyways twisted between rows of tenements, overcrowded and reeking of waste and damp. The fog rolled through the streets like a living thing, muffling footsteps and cloaking the misfortune that lingered in every shadow. Hey, poverty was inescapable. Immigrants, labours, and widows struggled to survive. Crime was constant, from pickpockets to street gangs, but nothing prepared the people of Whitechapel for the horror that would descend in the autumn of 1888. A murderer, unlike any the city had known, began to stalk the streets. Unseen, unpredictable, and cruel, he came to be known as Jack the Ripper. Over the course of several months, he would terrorize London, leaving behind mutilated bodies and a trail of unanswered questions that would haunt the city for decades. Mary and Nichols, 45, had endured a life marked by hardship. She had married young, only to see her husband die, leaving her alone to care for children who had also suffered misfortune. By 1888, she lived in Whitechapel, her existence reduced to scraping together whatever money she could from laundry work and, occasionally, prostitution. Despite the difficulties, she retained a spark of dignity, greeting acquaintances with a gentle smile even in the harshest conditions. On the morning of August 31st, 1888, Nichols' body was discovered in Bucks Row, lying in a narrow courtyard behind a low wall. Her throat had been slashed, and her abdomen grotesquely mutilated. The precision suggested anatomical knowledge, yet the act was savagely brutal. Detective Chief Inspector Frederick Abeline was called to the scene. He later described it, "I have seen many horrors in my years, but nothing like this. The cruelty, the deliberation. It was as though the murderer had studied the human form for his own perverse satisfaction." Whitechapel trembled. Rumors of a killer circulated among residents. Women avoided the streets after dark, and the press began reporting on the violence, amplifying the fear. The first blow had been struck, and London felt the chill of the unknown predator lurking in the shadows. Victim background detail. Nichols was remembered by neighbors as kind but struggling. She had recently returned from lodging in the workhouse, attempting to regain stability. Her death was not just a murder. It was a message to the women of Whitechapel that danger walked among them. Just over a week later, on September 8, 1888, another tragedy struck. Annie Chapman, 37, lived a difficult life with long-standing health and alcohol issues. She had recently left her husband, who had abused her, and had moved in with lodgers on Hanbury Street. Chapman's body was found in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street, mutilated far more extensively than Nichols. Her abdomen had been slit open, internal organs removed, and the precision suggested some anatomical familiarity. This escalation shocked both police and the public. The press was quick to respond. A letter appeared, allegedly from the killer, signed Jack the Ripper. The city trembled. People whispered that the killer was a doctor, a butcher, or perhaps a man possessed by a demonic obsession. The murder not only ended Chapman's life, but also shattered the sense of safety in Whitechapel. Following Chapman's murder, a series of letters arrived at the Central News Agency in Scotland Yard. Some were hoaxes, but the Dear Boss letter was taken seriously, signed with a now infamous name, Jack the Ripper. The letter taunted authorities, claiming responsibility for the murders and suggesting further killings would follow. The letters transformed the killings from a local crime to a national obsession. Londoners feared the foggy streets, suspecting any stranger as a potential killer. Women avoided venturing out alone, and families locked their doors at dusk. The Ripper's terror was not just physical, it was psychological, infiltrating every conversation, every glance, every alleyway in Whitechapel. Police scrambled to trace the letters. Every clue seemed to vanish into the fog, leaving detectives frustrated and anxious. The city felt powerless against an enemy who could strike unseen and disappear without trace. On September 30th, 1888, London experienced one of its darkest nights. Two women, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were murdered in close succession. Stride's body was found with her throat cut but no mutilation, suggesting the killer was interrupted. Edo's, however, was savagely mutilated, her body displaying the ritualistic precision that characterized the Ripper's wealth. Witnesses reported a man seen fleeing the scenes, described as wearing a long cloak and appearing calm, almost ghost-like. The terror escalated. Women no longer walked streets alone, and the police increased patrols, though their efforts yielded few results. Detective Chief Inspector Frederick Abline and Scotland Yard officers worked tirelessly. Witnesses described men who vanished like shadows in the fog, leaving authorities with frustratingly few leads. Suspects ranged from local butchers to doctors, but no one could be definitively linked to the crimes. Abline conducted detailed door-to-door investigations, interrogating residents and lodgers. He examined crime scenes meticulously, noting the patterns in the Ripper's work. Each murder suggested not only cruelty but careful planning, and a terrifying familiarity with anatomy. Despite their efforts, Scotland Yard struggled to gain traction. The killer's ability to remain unseen, combined with the media's sensational reporting, kept Whitechapel residents in a constant state of panic. Newspapers fueled the hysteria, publishing gruesome illustrations and detailed accounts of the murders. The Ripper became a symbol of fear, his name whispered in taverns, homes, and workplaces. Public paranoia intensified. Women barricaded themselves indoors, and families avoided the streets after nightfall. The press also published letters allegedly from the killer, some mocking the authorities, others claiming further murders. Public opinion turned critical of Scotland Yard, who were under immense pressure to apprehend the killer. The fear of Jack the Ripper was as powerful as the murders themselves. The last of the canonical victims, Mary Jane Kelly, was discovered on November 9, 1888, in her small room at Miller's Court. Kelly, 25, had lived a life of poverty, often working as a prostitute to survive. She was known for her bright personality and resilience, a stark contrast to the grim conditions around her. Her body was mutilated beyond recognition, the most extreme of the Ripper's known killings. Organs were removed, her face almost unidentifiable. This final murder marked the climax of the Ripper's reign of terror, after which he disappeared without a trace. Jack the Ripper vanished, never captured. His killings influenced policing, investigative techniques, and public awareness of urban crime. Whitechapel returned to a semblance of normalcy, but the shadow of the murders lingered. The legend of Jack the Ripper endures, representing not just the murders themselves, but the fear and uncertainty they spread. Over a century later, historians, criminologists, and enthusiasts continue to debate his identity. Suspects range from physicians to immigrants to even members of the royal family, but the truth remains elusive. The foggy alleys of Whitechapel remain immortalized in history. Jack the Ripper left behind not only victims, but a cultural legacy of fear, fascination, and unsolved mystery. His name evokes darkness and the human capacity for evil, a chilling reminder that even in a crowded city, the unknown can walk among us unseen. Though the streets of London have changed, the story of Jack the Ripper continues to grip imaginations worldwide. Scholars, writers, and filmmakers perpetuate his legend, ensuring that the terror of Whitechapel in 1888 will never be forgotten.